The next motion is on the scientific evidence around ULEZ, and Assembly Member Best to move it.
Thank you, Chair. It was Albert Einstein that said the important thing is to never stop questioning. Questionings and challenge are so important in science. For example, we used to believe that you would suffocate if you were travelling over 30 miles per hour. And would you believe that Elephant Man, the doctors deduced at that time that the reason that he had developed that illness was because pregnant women could imprint on their children, and his mother had been thinking too much about elephants. There was also, of course, our science around bad blood, leeches, phlegm. And the reason we've overcome that is because we question, because we look at science and we look at assumptions and we question and we challenge and we dive into it. Now, the way in which you do that challenging should be based on questions. The way in which you should not do that questioning is by emailing the professor of an institution which you've paid almost £1 million to, saying you do not like their research and asking that they please change it for you. And unfortunately, that is what the Deputy Mayor has done in this Assembly. And I think that should be of grave concern to everyone, because when something like that happens, it not only throws doubt on the issue at hand, in this case ULEZ, but on science in general, and especially something so important like this. Because it is very important that government pay institutions and commission studies to look at how effective policy is. If there is an assumption that those officials that are doing that are also emailing them and saying, for example, that they would like that researcher to publicly castigate research that they think is misleading, there is an issue with that. If they are saying that they don't like the form of words and would like the form of words in the conclusion changed, there is an issue with that. And unfortunately, on this case, that is what's happened. I actually saw sight of these emails a while ago, and I genuinely thought someone had made them up. I thought they could not possibly be true, because they are so horrifying. This is such an abdication of duty, and actually I think this entire Assembly should be calling on the Deputy Mayor to resign from her position. I genuinely mean that, because those emails and that exchange is not okay. But what it does, and what I think we make clear in this final section, is it shows that it is yet again another nail in the coffin of this failed ULEZ policy, and it leaves the Mayor with no option other than to scrap it. I don't know if anybody has seen the contents of those emails, but they are really concerning. So Shirley Rodrigues emailed to Professor Kelly, who's the head of the environment section at the Imperial, and said she was deeply concerned about the damage this misleading study is doing, both to our credibility and to low emissions as a policy. Kelly agreed to mitigate the damage to the Mayor's policy, and the Mayor's staff drafted a press statement for him to counter that study. Thank you, Chair. I think the only thing that I would end with saying is that she also wanted to set up a friendly interview for Professor Kelly, which is of concern. Please all support the motion.
Thank you.
I opened this discussion with talking about the need to question science, and I want to go back to a few months ago, when anybody that questioned the science on ULEZ was told they were a conspiracy theorist, was told they were a climate science denier, were told they were in bed with the far right, just for daring to question. And for those people that just cared about the fact that the charities in their communities, that the small businesses and the families on the lowest incomes couldn't cope, just because they dared to care about that, just because they dared to ask, is there enough evidence to support this policy, which your own impact assessment says there is not, just because they dared to ask that question, they were levelled with so much hate and abuse and criticism from the Labour Party in London and this Mayor. Imagine being one of those people and now finding out the Deputy Mayor themselves, who was saying that you were a climate science denier, was trying to deny science themselves. Just picture how angry those people must be in this moment to find out that this hypocritical mayoralty and his team are trying to change science at its very conclusion. It's absolutely outrageous.
I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour of the motion?
That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 in favour, Chair.
All those against the motion?
That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 against, Chair. That falls.
The motion falls.